You know, there's a lot of great OU podcasts, but there's only one where the horns are always down. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Horns Down Podcast.
All right, everybody. Chris Griffin here with another episode of the Horns Down Podcast. Y'all see the banner, all the rest of that stuff like that. I got my guy Jason here who has blessed the channel, who has donated some time, spent some time, and said, "Hey, man, let's get you a legit background." I was like, "Hey, okay, I'm eager. I want to know what's going on." So you know, Jason has honestly had one of the fastest growing channels that I've seen in some time, and so definitely got to pick his brain. But with that being said, Jason, Iowa State matchup last night. But before we get to that, go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you at and all your content.
Hey, man, everybody knows you can find me at CFB-pod on YouTube. Also at you can just hofmedia.us. That's our website. It'll take you everywhere we are. And at JW_HOF on Twitter, where we hang out the most, talk the most trash. Here we go. It's Texas Hate Week. Let's go.
So, as you already know, hey, what is that? Wipe your feet. Go ahead, hit
Wipe
that like
your
button.
feet.
Subscribe, do all of that stuff, not only to this podcast, but Jason's podcast as well. Definitely helps us out. So, with that being said, let's jump right into it. Oklahoma took on Iowa State last night. Jason, if I may, just let me go ahead and get this out of the way. Guys, I was at a vow renewal last night, and that thing started late. It was supposed to start at 5 o'clock. Started at 5:45. What did I do? I had to watch most of the game on my phone. So, like many of you, what did I see? I saw our defense giving up some stuff early on. What I call it is a bunch of trash plays. We got caught running the same stuff we had been running all year before that game happened. What I mean by that is that on those third and longs, fourth downs, different things like that, where they were able to keep their drives alive with some first downs and then some big touchdowns, some chunk plays as well that led to those touchdowns. They caught us on those cover zero looks, and they caught us playing a wide zone because we were blitzing and we were leaving the middle of that field wide open. But you know, I talking to my uncle, and I'm gonna let Jason go here in a second. I think they're kind of on the same page. Guys after that pick six by Billy Bowman, which by the way, the return was beautiful. Chef's kiss.
Yes.
I think what it was guys got a little bit gun happy and wanted to try to jump some routes, and you saw them take some bad angles, which kind of led to those plays. So, Jason, with that being said, I'll let you go ahead and go.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think for the best part, I mean, what do you hear Teddy saying on his show all the time? Teddy Lehman is always saying, don't rush past the quarterback. Don't go deeper than where he is.
Yeah.
On the pick six, you didn't see that. You saw them get to him, flush him out of the pocket, make him get off his platform and off timing. And if you throw here's the thing about those sideline routes. You got to be perfect timing with that one. Perfect. And you know, in high school, this is a freshman we're talking about too at quarterback with Rocco Beck. He gets off his timing. He throws that ball just a beat late, and it's in the house, right? Now, but a lot of things had to happen there for that to work out right. You had to get the rush at the right level. You had, and you've got Billy sitting there kind of waiting, you know, and lurking around there, just waiting for that ball to come late, right? If he throws that a beat earlier, you don't get to it. Right. But that's why that's no man's land, you know, and why you have to have a big arm to even throw that ball in the first place, period. You know, to me, then you get the touchdown pass that came right after that, the long touchdown pass where Key Lawrence, he's there. He's not out of position. But instead of blowing him up, he tries to take a bad angle there. The ball gets past him and it's a touchdown. Now, if he just blows him up, and I think Jay was saying on his deal this morning, he was talking about, he goes, you know, hey, you gotta in that situation, you know, you need to make him think about it as a business decision moving forward. And I agree. If you hit him there, even if you take a 15-yard penalty for freaking cracking his ass, you know, you're gonna make him think about coming across the middle again. Yeah. You know, you're gonna make him think about that.
Yeah,
the fact is, well, they weren't out of position. They were there. They had a guy trailing him, and he had him right there. It just so happened that when he tried to, he was a little late on that, thinking that, hey, I just led Billy in a minute ago. We're going to get another one.
Mm-hmm.
It's understandable. You know what I mean? They were trying to get him out of there quick. They, like kind of what you were saying on fair. I think they were trying to, hey, let's just blow these dudes out on defense right here, right now.
Yeah.
It is kind of what it is.
I definitely thought that the play calling was a bit aggressive. Simply because I felt like you were trying to get those kill shots to go ahead and get them out of there, which eventually you did. But at the same time, I think, defensively, you were willing to take some chances because obviously you didn't really respect not only their team speed, but I didn't think that you respected overall what they were trying to do offensively. I think that
you're freaking freshman, you're licking your chops, bro.
James Thrice brought it up. He said same thing happened against Tulsa, 3 early picks, and the DBs got greedy. Not only that, but I think Iowa State took Tulsa's game plan with Cardell Williams later in that game, where the best way to attack this team at times is to move that pocket, is to get that quarterback.
Make sure that you make that dude get off platform, right?
It's basically bootleg action the entire time. Not even going to try to disguise it. Whenever we were able to have a contain and turn him into a pocket passer, that's whenever you saw us have a lot of success, especially given the fact that we were able to keep the run game under control, I would say, most of the night. So for me, I thought that was a good point by James as far as just pointing out Tulsa, because I think that's exactly what they did. They took that game plan.
No, and I agree. I think that when you look at it, look, do you want to see them be perfect? Of course you do. But in the end, they're out there doing their thing and they're trying to make plays. And the thing is that you didn't really see them get out of position to where, had they been just a little more disciplined in those areas, then, they make the play, right?
Yeah.
Now, whereas, when you start looking at, they scored 20 points in 20 minutes, 21 minutes, and then they held him to under 100 yards for the rest of the 39 minutes of the football game. They don't get nothing else on the board. Lone Star come in running that mouth. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah,
we know what's up, Christian, because, you keep on thinking that that's going to be how it is, because it's not. In the end, we know what we saw yesterday and what, it could have been. You could have held them without scoring. They did for 39 minutes. 39 minutes. They went after a couple of plays that they probably shouldn't have. There was a couple of times where they missed setting the edge. You can't afford to make those mistakes against a team like Texas. We understand that. But in the end, it'd have been one thing if it started that way and stayed that way. What'd you say before the show started? Last year before that, it gets started like that, you got a freaking ball game on your hands.
Yeah, you got a freaking ball game. And I mean, I think Teddy Lehman had probably to come in the night, in my opinion. It's like, hey, look, that Iowa State team, not a lot of people put a lot of points on that team, no matter what type of talent they have. But to put 50 on that defense, as good as they are with that, 3-3.
Uh-oh. I don't know if we lost Chris or what. Can y'all hear me or? Let me know if y'all can hear me or if this is on Chris's thing or if it's on my end. Me, him, who is it? Okay, K Chris is frozen up. All right. Yeah, you tell him, chicken, Mr. Peach Fuzz. I'm not sure what happened with him there. K Chris got excited. It's all good. He'll be back in a second, I'm sure. Face blue, wide eyes. Oh. So yeah, you know what? Yeah. You talking that smack. I'm not throwing anything up on the board here. I don't have control of any of this. All right. I don't really think that. Here's what I was saying about that first 21 minutes. I think that obviously you made a couple of mistakes. They also made a couple of big plays, right? What you also saw was Dylan Gabriel come in, do what he was supposed to do offensively. You know, you hit some big pass plays on that. He still comes in doing his thing, right? Oh yeah, of course they are. Let's see what you got. We'll just keep talking in here. Chris will be back in a second, I'm sure. He must have just lost his internet connection. Pretty wild. I figured he'd have been back by now. Let's see. Well, what you are going to have to worry about there, Christian, is OU. They're better than that team that you played in Tuscaloosa, so is what it is. You're gonna get y'all's asses whipped this week. And Dylan did well, yeah. I think that Dylan did real well, Gus. Here's the thing. He gets a lot of hate, man. He gets a lot of hate from a lot of people. It's definitely unfounded on as far as I'm concerned. You even hear people talking about, quarterbacks that he's not, blah, 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 blah. I mean, even after what he just did. But, yeah, look at that, man. He goes through, has 2 big runs. And what about Jaden Gibson on that touchdown catch that he had, man? Busting through those last few guys for the last 5 or 6 yards, man. That was sweet. Bro, what happened there, man? We just
all right. My power went out.
Shouldn't leave me alone with the crew.
Look. So I think I forgot what I was saying, but I'll just say this right here to wrap it up about the defense. I thought we just played aggressive at different points in time. I thought that people got a little bit happy as far as trying to press that gun, tap on the gun. But hey, it is what it is. You made plays. You ended up getting out of there. You were able to get out there with the win and healthy on top of that. Got to see Pearson back. Got to see a lot of really good things. I'll say this right here. Definitely impressed with our defensive line. Thought we got pressure. I thought we were there an awful lot. Thought secondary played really well, especially in the second half. I thought they pretty much held them in check and shut down a lot of that stuff. Linebackers as well. I mean, you can't really complain. I thought that Stutzman didn't have his best game that he's had obviously he didn't have the best day.
He didn't have 20 tackles, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, let's just be honest. I still think that he did his thing though. So
he still led the team. And here's the last thing I would say about it is overall it was the most yardage and points put on an Iowa State team in 9 years. 9 years,
Yeah.
And to go out there and do go out a booger anecdote. Yeah. Man, I love our freaking audience. But yeah, it's just I think that you look at it in terms of, like I said a couple of years ago. I mean, look at what you saw yesterday at CU, right? USC goes out, gets a big lead, and then they systematically piss it away for the entire rest of the damn game. Yeah. This is what you said it before the show. It drive you crazy with Alex Grinch, and this is what we saw. Had Colorado had any kind of played with any type of urgency down the stretch, they win the freaking game.
It was the drive before they scored their last touchdown. You're like, hey man, you got to get that ball. Like, you got to give somebody a chance. Yeah. Shout out to Amari Miller. That is Nick's cousin. If you guys don't know Nick, Nino's Corner, yada. We're going to get to Texas in a little bit, by the way, folks. But with that being said, let's go ahead and segue into but no, I agree with you, actually. I agree with you on that. I'm so glad that the heart attacks are gone away. This last night kind of crept up on us, but at the same time, I don't think it was anything that you saw last night that you were like, oh, we were going to get exposed, because unlike Lone Star and some other people, if you actually break down the film or if you actually break down the game and watch the game, right, you understand it's not necessarily Iowa State is just running all these numbers and running these guys at us and stacking up these numbers. What it is just we got caught on what we've been doing all year. And we've been doing a lot of cover zero, a lot of different things. These are just basic concepts that we're running. I haven't seen anything too complex out here that we are running or whatnot. So I'm hopeful that we see that this weekend. So with that being said, let's go ahead and segue into offense. What did you see from the offense last night?
Yeah, I loved it. Come out there right off the bat, get a touchdown. You know what I mean? You go down there and you do it right away. And look, started seeing him. He hit some deep passes, what we've been talking about that we wanted to see on him. He was decisive with his throws. Dylan was. They committed to the run. I still would like to see more Gavin Sawchuk. Something that I hadn't really brought up throughout the week is when I was in Cincinnati last week, you see Gavin, on kickoff and playing special teams, but he's not getting touches out of the backfield. Mm-hmm. I'm not quite sure I understand that, but I'm not there at practice every day either.
Yeah.
So, to me, I'd like to see a little more of him. I like Marcus, but he's averaging like 3.8. I don't know why we're not looking at some other dudes right now.
If Marcus could stay on his feet, he may actually average more yards per carry, but hell, he can't. He's either slipping or running right over somebody that he's getting tripped up by. So,
right.
To me, I think right now, obviously, I love Sawchuk and I love Borns as well. But I mean, Tawi is probably your best bet. I think you should give him probably bulk of the carries if you're not going to give those other two that. But at the same time, I'm not mad with what. The only thing I'm mad about Majors last night is that when he caught one of those swing passes and Drake Stoops was in front of him, he chose to go outside. It's 2nd and 5 instead of going inside, which you're probably saying, hey, look, either you had a chance to go inside and get a 1st and 10, or probably a little bit more yards than that. If not, probably being able to catch some blocks downfield and get a chunk play. So that was my only gripe with him last night. It's kind of to be expected when he's running the ball. It's like one out of those 3 carries that he's going to get, he's going to do some damage with it. So you just kind of have to expect that. Tawi, just durable, serviceable, all of those things. You're still waiting for that explosiveness out of the running game to come up. But then again, why can't it be against Texas? Why can't it be against Texas?
It could be. Go ahead. It could be. I think that what you saw in the Alabama game was that they could run the ball and they didn't. Where they struggled was in the passing game. So I think that you could see that happen. In the end, I think that what we're seeing out of and part of it is, you run that RPO and stuff like that, but you saw Dylan go out there and make some nice runs too yesterday, and forceful runs where he's, bouncing off of people and making sure he gets there. What he had 45 yards on, whatever, and he had a couple of touchdowns. He had 5 touchdowns yesterday. We're still talking about a situation where if he goes out there and has a big game this week, he's right in the thick of the Heisman race. I think his stats say that he is anyway, but because of the fact that you hadn't played the greatest schedule coming into this, as far as, you're obviously your non-conference, not having Georgia in that non-conference, no matter what he did, nobody was going to care.
Yeah.
But I think that if you go out there and you do the same kind of stuff against Texas this week, then and these receivers are able to do, hey, I was happy to see Brennan Thompson get a couple of catches, man. This is a guy that can be a huge weapon with his speed whenever, if he starts getting going, right? I'm excited about that. And it seemed like Coach BV was too. So look, I still feel like that, I don't buy the he's not the guy stuff. I think he is the guy. He's not Caleb Williams. We know that. We know he's not that guy. But he is the guy for Oklahoma. He knows this offense. They are a top 10 offense in basically every category other than rushing.
Yeah.
He's in the top 10 in pretty much every category that a quarterback wants to be top 10 in.
Yeah.
His QBR is through the roof. He's been averaging 70% completion percentage. Hey, say what you want. The guy's doing what he's supposed to do, man.
Yeah, I get that. I think for me, it's just that I need Dylan to. I feel like with some of his reads, he's taken a long time to get to that third. Well, the third read is really the go route for him.
Sure.
And so, I mean, guys are running wide open on double coverage, single coverage, double coverage, all of that. I mean, they're trying to bracket those guys, and you gotta. I just feel like just lead him a little bit. I don't know. The timing just feels off a little
I think
bit.
if he's a little quicker on a couple of throws, he's probably a little better. I'll give you that point. I think his timing, when you see him make a bad throw, it's usually off timing. Yeah. And it's what we were just talking about with Beck against the OU defense, was that you got to get them off their timing. You got to get them to throw it a little late. You got to get them to be off of their platform. I think whenever, and look, let's not forget that this defense that you went up against, this is a perennial, the top defense in the Big 12 for the last, since Campbell got there, man. They have been. They hadn't given up this many points in 9 years.
Yep.
So,
I'm gonna go out on a limb and just say I don't necessarily think that OU has 5 games into the season. I'm just gonna say I don't think OU has necessarily done anything that you would say, oh my God, like they're showing their hand or they're doing this or doing that. Sure. I don't think that you've seen that.
I think you've seen everything they're going to be. Is that what you're going
to? Yeah. I mean, outside of the tight formation that they have now, this tight formation that they've been running, and they ran a lot of it last night. They tried to run it against. They ran it against SMU. Wasn't as successful as you would like it, but then they ran it last night and they ended up finding a lot of success out of it. To be quite frank with you, able to run out of it. I'm not the biggest fan of the tight formation. I think it's leaky, simply because guys come off. If you have good edge rushers, then they're able to kind of eat that up because you got everybody basically bunched up there, and it's really about timing. Everybody has to be on time because there's a lot of working parts as far as the corner routes, as far as whatever you're trying to run out of their seams, different things like that. So that type formation, it's a gift and a curse. It could be deadly, or it could end up TFL or a sack, something like that. If you're not running it right, if you're not blocking right.
Well, that's one of the things that I've liked more and more from, like, last year used to drive me crazy when he would hold on to the football, take a sack. I don't want to see that shit so much. You know what I mean? And he's been getting, at least the ball is coming out more often than what it was before, right? Yeah. I would say you're probably right there. The full playbook gets opened up this week, and they're got to go out there and be aggressive, especially after what we saw last season, the Red River game. There's some get back time. So go out there, open it up, let them do what they're going to do. And here's again, I know I've said this probably a bunch to you and to everybody, but I understand that Coach Venables wants to see more running, better running attack, blah, 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 blah. We want to establish the run. There's other ways of doing that. You can actually hit it the pass game first to set up the run. And I kind of think that's what they did a little bit yesterday. It seems like when they don't come out and handcuff themselves to, we're going to run the football on first down every freaking series, no doubt, right? If they don't do that and they take what the defense is giving them, then you see Dylan be more decisive and more aggressive. When there's that thought in the back of his mind, is what it seems like to me. When that thought in the back of his mind is we got to hand the ball off and get these guys going, that's what they want. Then you see a little bit of a less decisiveness. I want to see them run the ball just as much as anybody else, but I think that you have to realize that sometimes, in order to get the running lanes that you want, you got to start off throwing the ball. You can't, if Texas comes out there and they've got 8 men in the box daring you to run, you better not run. Throw the damn ball.
Yeah. And I think that they would be crazy to do that because I'm not sure. I mean, I was on record whenever they got the kid, Ryan Watts, in the transfer portal 2 years ago. I was on record saying I thought that he was going to turn out being their best cover guy at some point. And so I like Ryan Watts, but I'm not going to leave anybody on. Just how they would say, well, you better not leave anybody on an island with Worthy. I'm not going to leave Andrew Anthony on an island. I mean, somebody on an island with Andrew Anthony. And I'm probably not going to leave somebody on the island. Depends on the matchup and depends on what I see or what I've seen from film. I would say probably 6 times out of 10, I'm not going to leave somebody on the island with Farouk or Nick Anderson, just to be honest with you.
Ooh,
I'd like to see those two kind of do it in a big game. I think Andrell Anthony can do it in a big game, but
he's proven.
Andre
CFP, baby.
Yeah. Andrell Anthony didn't have a big night last night, but one thing I would definitely say that he did for us is he made teams game plan for him to take him out of the game. That's and right. So that was a big gripe that a lot of people had last year. And you heard there were some coaches from other teams who would often say that is that, oh, you didn't have a wide receiver that we felt like we needed to game plan for. We knew
aside from Marvin, they didn't.
Yeah, outside of from Marvin, there was nothing else. So this year, I think that you're having to do that because of the variety of body sizes, talent level, abilities, all those different things. Let's see. Stephen G says something I liked about Levy this week. He had a change of pace after we got the lead and had a 5-minute drive in the fourth. Something we all asked for last year. Yeah. Honestly, that made me think about the game, and I was like, damn, we actually did do that because we were going pretty fast. We're going rocket fast. I would say my biggest thing about the offense is simply this right here, man. Hey, Nick Anderson. I don't understand why are you lining up Nick Anderson in the slot and then also putting Jaden Gibson to the short side of the field? Why can't we flip that? Why can't we have? I think right now, Nick Anderson may be a better route runner, or you feel like he's one in your top 3 wide receivers. I don't understand why we can't throw jump balls to them, throw some fade routes to them, if you get what I'm saying. Because, I feel like every time that Gibson has been on the field this year, he's catching, his confidence is there. That was a hell of a play by Gibson last night on that touchdown grab.
Bro, not only did he make a great grab, but then he bowled through a bunch of dudes to get into the end zone. He just went going down. And I'll tell you, I think Nick Anderson might be the best athlete on the field every time he's on it.
Mm-hmm.
Stud.
Yeah.
Straight up stud.
Yeah.
But Andrell's got that speed. You've got, and I like Farouk for his shiftiness, and he's going to get in the end zone. The thing is you have a bunch of guys you have to account for. You have a bunch of guys. You saw you got a little bit out of the tight end.
Stogner.
Austin. Yeah. Excited to see that a little bit. But I'm kind of with a lot of people that I don't understand why we want to force feed that. If he's not going to be any better than what he's been at times this season, why not just add that 5th receiver? Screw it. You've got guys that will put the defense in jeopardy. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if he's not blocking well, that's the reason why I think a lot of the times he hasn't been in the game, because he hasn't blocked well. And you need to have better blocking out of your tight ends to really establish a run game. Just trying to go out there and play bully ball.
Yeah. What were your thoughts about the offensive line last night?
It was better. I think that there's still some times that you kind of want to see them be a little better than they are, but again, I feel like with the way that this offense moves and the quick strike ability that you have, you don't really have to keep allowing Dylan to get into trouble, right? I think that you can do without that. But here's the deal. I just really feel like you I don't have a problem with the offensive output yesterday. I mean, they went out there and had a big game. You put 50 up again. That's the most points put up on an Iowa State defense in 9 years. So to me, I'm not going to sit here and nitpick at anything. I'm just not going to do it. I think that we've part of the reason that I think that this is so different, and I think that people have a lot of PTSD because of the defensive side of it, to the point of it that the offense, if you don't put up 50 or in the 40s at least, then you think that, oh, they're trash, right? You look at last week, man, Oklahoma really wasn't in jeopardy of losing that freaking football game at any point. And even with a couple of little mistakes here and there, you had the fumble. You had the fumble, you had the snap that went off of Dylan's chest that kind of you stalled that drive as well. You had a couple of times where you got it stalled and you kicked field goals.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, they were never really in jeopardy, and we're worried about, that they're not. You expect them to put up the same kind of numbers that Lincoln's offenses did all the time. They have the ability to do that. They don't have to do it all the time. And this is where I think it's hard for Oklahoma fans to square that, right? To square that truth that you don't always have to score 40 or 50 points to win. If you can win a 20-6 game, that's okay. That's okay. And hey, you would tell me you wouldn't take a 20-6 win over Texas next week.
But let me, yes. 12-0 like we did in the past. I'd take it all. And that's not to say that we're desperate for that win. I'm just saying that, hey, a win is a win. Winning is hard, but it doesn't always have to be. So here's what I'll say in closing of this Iowa State game. Two things, okay? Because you brought up the Cincy game. So I'm going to say two things right here. Folks, whatever is said this about this Iowa State game and whatever is said this week about you not knowing anything about OU, you've learned two things. You've learned two things in these past 2 weeks. One, that your defense is solid and stout enough to go up there in enemy territory against a mobile quarterback that we've had that notoriously mobile quarterbacks have plagued us, right? Your defense was stout enough not to crumble, not to break. You showed growth. You were able to win that game. This next game, you learned a couple of things out of there. I'll jump it all down into one thing. You learned that first things first. First thing that you learned was simply this: Iowa State was not the more physical team in this game, and that it's been a while. It's been a while that we could say that. It's been a while since we can say that. Second thing, yet again, you learn that your defense, they can get settled, get their feet under them, and figure it out on the fly.
Right? Resiliency.
Yes. Resiliency. Growth. It's just growth. And to me, I think you learned that as sporadic, as inconsistent as his offense can be, even on their worst day, still could probably drop a 50 piece on you.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And they have, you look at that Dylan spread it out to a lot of guys, man. There's a lot of dudes catching footballs. Right. And, you can say, well, how come we haven't got this guy involved? G Freaky, for instance, why isn't he getting the ball? Yeah. Well, there's 5 other guys that are catching footballs right now. 6 other guys even. It is what it is. Yeah. I think that G Freaky's going to do his thing at some point. And I think that's the beauty of it is you try to take away one, you're going to get somebody else. And they're all deadly. There's a bunch of deadly dudes. I mean, like we said, Thompson. Who's to say? You start thinking you let that guy get it opened up. Yeah, he's going to be in the house. He's going to be in the end zone immediately. You got guys like him. You've got Andrew Anthony. I mean, he's caught a few balls here and there, but he hasn't gotten the deep ball the last couple of games. Really, you think he can't? You know what I mean? Go ahead and start covering up on some of these other guys and see whatever happens. To me, I really feel like these guys are ready. And in the end, the offense is not something I'm concerned with. I'm just not, because I see a defense that is getting better week to week. Even when they made mistakes early in this game, like I said, 21 minutes, they give up over 270 yards, something like that. Mm-hmm. The next 39, they don't give up 100.
Yeah.
Right. And no scores. So the fact that you got resiliency like that, and listen, you were hoping when Lincoln was here, you were hoping for one stop. One.
2 if you get lucky.
Right. I mean, that's what you were hoping for. They make a mistake and you get a stop. That's all you can really hope for. Now you don't have to worry about that shit. You know that if they can pick you up. And the beauty of it is that the offense can pick you up when you make a mistake like you saw in the first 21 minutes. Mm-hmm. Okay, we need to go out there and score some more points. Let's go do it. Great.
Yeah.
This is complimentary football. This is what wins championships. Defenses, and plus having a potent offense too. It doesn't hurt nothing. No. This team is starting to look more like Clemson than it hasn't. I mean, than you would have ever expected, probably.
I can see that. All right, Jason. Before we jump into these other subjects, hey, go ahead and like, subscribe, do all of that to the channels. Follow us wherever you get your podcast. We're on the same type of time. Follow Jason's podcast as well. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into it. So we're not going to talk that long about that game, but I want to talk about it some. KU versus Texas.
Yeah.
I think we all were bamboozled. I think we all had. I think Houdini was playing us yesterday because I turned on the game and I was like, "Well, I thought Jaden Daniels was in the first drive." No, he wasn't. Jaden Daniels didn't play. So I think Bean is a really good quarterback, and I think it's time for Bean to enter that.
He's a good backup.
Yeah, I think he could go to a bunch of places and put up some numbers. I'll tell you a team right now that if he was there, I think that they wouldn't miss a beat. I think that he could go to Texas Tech and be the starter right now and do some things. I think he's better than the Shuck.
Yeah, Shuck's out. So he's but I don't know. I mean, Emory. What was that other kid's name? Damn it, I'm forgetting his. Barry Morton. He looked good. Man. He looked good.
Yeah. I know that because they did get a quarterback in that in the 23 class, I think. But still, regardless, though, my biggest thing is that hey, outside of the Alabama game, you play yet another team, with their backup. So
yeah. Listen, I get it. Yeah, look, and you look at the Wyoming game. I mean, it was 10-10 going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they did what they were supposed to do after that. I think that what you're finally seeing, which is what's probably a little scary about Texas, is that they've actually made some adjustments in the second half, which is not something we're used to seeing.
No.
Under Sark, and they've been more of a fourth quarter team. They particularly against Alabama, they were a fourth quarter team, which was the only real game they've had too. People can act like they've played such a great schedule compared to Oklahoma, but they haven't. They've played one game.
And Bama's not the same Bama that they've been. Bama as I'm not even gonna lie. Now you can go down on the roster and correct me if I'm wrong, but
roster-wise, Bama's great on defense there, and they're running the right offense at this point. They look a lot better, but no, when they played them, they were not that.
And they're young at a lot of key positions, and their skill positions are still playing catch up to where it used to be.
Well, yeah, the main safety is a freshman, and he kept stepping up, and that's why he's getting burned. Against UT. And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to sit here and just say,
I'm not going to downplay it. Yeah.
I'm not saying you go to Tuscaloosa, you get a win, give them their props for it. They did what they needed to do.
My biggest thing is
they did what they didn't do at home last year when they should have beat them then.
And I forgot whose channel I was on, but was it mine or was it Jay's? It was somebody, it may have been yours, but I mean, I gave Sark credit. I said, man, Sark basically put the script down. I think he threw it away and just said, screw it.
Yeah.
If this kid gonna keep biting, I'm just going to exploit him all night. And I think that's exactly what they did. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. KU yesterday, KU did some good things. I mean, hey, it was 13-7 at halftime.
It was.
So, I mean, defensively, I mean, they played about as good as they can, but
they're well coached, man. They're just well coached.
They're well coached, but the thing about Kansas is I said it, I kept saying it, and I'll say it again. It's their secondary, man. Defensive line, their defensive line is stout. When they play inspired football and the crowd is behind them, they play out their mind. But that secondary was getting eaten up an awful lot. There was two things that I saw that I said, okay, what do we do? First off, KU ran too much zone, in my opinion. They ran a lot of zone coverage. You can't do that against a Sark offense. You could do it some, but you can't do that against a Sark coverage. I mean, a Sark offense.
They're just going to hit the soft spot and freaking keep moving down the field.
And that's all that they did. They ran a lot of soft spot type of routes. Honestly, running hitches, basically, really deep hitches. They were finding curl routes, hitches, drop and go. Now, don't get me wrong.
It's the easiest thing in the world for a receiver to do is find the soft spot in the zone. And the same with the quarterback or the decent quarterback.
Quinn will stare you down. Quinn will stare you down to the point where he's telegraphing it to the defense. There were plenty of plays to be made, but they just didn't make them. But when you let Worthy, it's not necessarily the deep ball with Worthy. It's not necessarily the deep ball with Mitchell. But where Texas kills you is those medium yard gains, basically those medium yard passes, where I'm saying like they're gaining about 20, 25 plus on those medium plays, in my opinion. They're hitting you over the middle. It's nothing deep. They're not even really trying to go deep half the time. But when they are, yes, it may be there, but they're finding other guys. The second thing that I would say, because they did this in that game, when I was down there last year, I watched it happen so many times, is those basically what I like to call it as those twin routes, those twin concepts. Basically, it's a stack play. They have Whittington and they telegraph it. You know where it's going. They run Whittington and they run Worthy together, and basically they're breaking off. You have to be smart enough to figure out who's running a go and who's doing an out route, or who is going to be the one that's going to be doing a comeback route, basically, because that's all that's happening. And you saw them run that plenty of times yesterday, and they were successful with it against Kansas.
Yeah, and I mean, I still think when it all boils down to it, the talent discrepancy between Texas and Kansas is big.
Yeah,
you know,
it's big.
The equalizer is Jalen Daniels. He won there. Devin Neal. Devin played a pretty good game, right? Jalen Daniels is not in the game. I like Jason Bean too. He's not Jalen. Okay, let's just be real about it. He's not Jalen. So, in the end, I think that they're poised to. I'm still not sure that they're better than K-State, Kansas. I don't think that they necessarily are. I think we'll find out a little bit about that when you see Oklahoma go to Lawrence. But I think that's potentially going to be one of those tough and trap game type of deals where you're going to have to go in there and do your thing. I think that you said the best thing that you could say about Oklahoma 2 weeks ago when we talked, and it was, hey, you got to show some maturity. Go handle your business, and that's week after week, man. I don't think that you have to worry about them getting up for Texas. Of course you don't. You got blown out last year, right? So you don't, and it's Texas anyway, so you don't ever have to worry about that. But the concern would be is, do you see what we used to see when Lincoln Riley was the head coach, and that they go out and they play down to their competition? I don't believe that that's the case anymore. I don't think that BV allows it. He will beat it into their brain that they got to go out there and play hard, and he's in their face, man. One of the things that I've seen a lot of interviews over the last week or so where they've talked a lot about a lot of these players that are talking about his coaching style, the long talks after practices and getting in your grill, and and that it's not PG rated either. So if you make a mistake, he's going to come at you. There's a lot of expectations. So if it's for nothing else, then you don't want to hear the shit. You're going to get out there and play or just play hard and do your thing. I think that overall, when it comes to Texas, they still have a tendency to play down to the competition, man. They just do.
Yeah, they do.
I think that will get them hurt.
Yeah. Let's see. Carvin says, historically in the Texas game, dominance in the running game dictates the winner. However, this is a loaded football team that can mix up, but Oklahoma needs to show physicality on the offensive line. Yeah, no, I agree. I think establishing the run is going to be something that is vital to victory. But at the same time, I think that you're going to be able to pass and make a lot of plays. Let's not act like Bean wasn't Bean didn't connect on that 48 or 53-yard touchdown that he had. Guys are open down the field. You just have to be able to get it to them. My biggest thing about
they haven't played a quarterback like Dylan either.
They haven't. Yes, they haven't. And I would say I like the Wyoming quarterback. Yeah. But at the same time,
he's a good runner.
He's at Wyoming for a reason.
That's right.
Everybody always thought that JT Daniels is a talented kid. Let's not get wrong. He was 5-star for he wasn't a 5-star for any other reason than him just being talented. But
he was a stud.
Fact of the matter is, he just bounced around all these different schools, and he's at Rice now. So kind of is what it is. But at the end of the day, and whatever they want to say about Alabama, you can talk about Alabama as a whole, but as far as quarterback, I think they would love this. I bet you anything they would switch you right now with Dylan Gabriel. He wouldn't be any.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
He gives you the ability to run some, maybe not like Milroe.
No.
But he's completing 70% of his passes, man. They'd love that.
Mm-hmm. But no, I thought all in all, I mean, they did what they needed to do. The score shows it. It was a closer game at halftime, but then the floodgates basically opened and Kansas just never could recover. And
which again, that's a different Texas than what we've been used to the last couple of years. They could lead at the halftime and blow it 17 points or more. It didn't, they did.
And you felt like the game was going to be a tight game going into the fourth quarter, simply because Texas had a lot of opportunities, and so did Kansas in that first half.
Sure.
Neither team could really capitalize. This is a game that I hope somebody looks dominant out there, simply because I don't want to leave it in the hands of the special teams, because right now, punting for OU, kicking for Texas especially, is just not as great as you would like.
That's probably why you saw us going for fourth downs a lot more in this game, right?
Yeah.
Even if you're anywhere inside the 50, you're going, or somewhere around the 50, they were going for it.
You got to start fast and take that defensive line out of it from Texas. I'm still not convinced about the defensive line. I think the interior is good, simply because they got some of those bigger guys and they developed. But I really have never been a Ford fan. Never really. Their edges are kind of just their edges. I think that you have some good camaraderie. I think they have playmakers on defense. I'm not going to sit here and act like they don't. But at the same time, I think that what happens when you face a competent quarterback? If Dylan Gabriel comes out there and he's on, it's going to be a hell for them. They may get a couple of stops, but at the same time, that this offense is explosive.
Well, not even just that, not even just Dylan. It's Dylan plus the fact that there's a plethora of weapons. There's a bunch of guys that you have to account for, and they haven't had to do that either.
Mm-hmm.
How many guys you got to worry about in the passing game for Kansas? 1, 2.
Yeah.
How many, even against Alabama, how many of those guys did you really have to concern yourself with? They haven't had a great wide receiver room in a while now. They haven't. And so, to me, and they were trying to force the football down the field, and it wasn't working out because they hadn't established. I mean, with Jalen Milroe, I think it's pretty simple. You want to make them take the run away from him first. You want to get him running the ball to where it opens up the deep ball, to where they're bringing more guys into the box, and he doesn't have to fit throws into tight windows, because he's not that dude.
Yeah,
he's not that dude.
Yeah.
And they only have a couple of weapons there in that situation. When it comes to Oklahoma, like I said, okay, you can take away Jalil Farouk. Then you got to deal with Andrell Anthony. You can take away Andrell. Then you got to turn around and deal with Jaden Gibson. Stoops. He's been a baller, man. Out of that slot position, he's a great safety valve for Dylan, right? But there's so many guys that can hurt you. There's 6 or 7 guys that have caught footballs and been explosive when they did it. Mm-hmm. And then we're not even talking about the kid that came from Texas. I keep forgetting his name. Brennan Thompson. Yeah. Hey, you think there's a mistake why that kid caught a couple of balls coming into the UT game? I don't think there is. I think even if he gets nothing in this game, they're going to make him think about it, and that's what you want to do.
Yeah, I would love for that kid to go out there and have.
Oh, bro, go out there and get 3 touchdowns. What kind of
3 touchdowns, 150 yards? I'm telling all Texas fans, what the hell was y'all thinking, man?
That would be so freaking awesome, man. You talk all kinds of shit.
Said, be serious. He said, be serious, Rico. Who has the quickest strike offense with the best defense? I'll wait. Are you talking
to that question, Chicken? You know the answer to that question.
Chicken, are you talking about this Texas? I would say us.
No. He's saying that too. He's saying that.
Yeah, I would say us for sure. Hey, look, I want to what I do want to talk about is just defensively real quick.
Yeah.
Defensively, I'm gonna say this right here. I don't want Quinn to get hurt. Okay, let that be known. I do not want him to get hurt.
Me neither. I want that dude in the game the whole time.
If he, yeah, I do. but I just don't want him to get hurt. I mean, I want him to go out to the league, have a great career. That's like, hey, let him be the one that changes the mold for the South Lake quarterbacks.
That's right.
But I would love for him to be just, he wants to try to take it up the sideline, and then all of a sudden Reggie Pearson comes into the air. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Shit, man, he knows better than that shit. He's not going to do nothing stupid.
I want to see that. It's worth a 15-yard penalty.
It would be. But hey, look, it only if he doesn't come out of the game.
Yeah.
You do not want. Hey, we do not want to see the transformer in the game. You know that. I know that. That changes everything. I don't want to see the dude.
I'm just saying, man. But no, offensively, man, against us, like I'll go back to it, man. Look, they killed us last year. And you know what? It was like they were running that route that Worthy kept running the entire game. He ran an orbit route the entire freaking game. And what they did, they used him as a decoy, and Whittington was catching everything underneath. Yeah. If you go back and watch that game, I was there. I saw it with my own eyes. Woody is running with him side by side. You think you got everything covered. Quinn's still throwing it. You like, oh, that's a pick. And then all of a sudden, he go Whittington right underneath him. I mean, there was times where they were literally running the same route, and Whittington is running side by side with Woody and Worthington and just catching the pass right then and there. There were times where Worthy, we were so focused on Worthy's running a go route, and all of a sudden you're running him, you're stacking, you're running Whittington right underneath that. Whittington
got a nice receiver room too, bro. They got a nice receiver room too.
Yeah. This year, I think what they're going to try to do is probably tack over the middle, but I'm eager to see, can Danny Stutzman, can he do it in this game? Can he do it in this game?
Yeah, be good at coverage when you got to be. You saw Deshaun McCullough kind of make some good coverage out there of that tight end whenever he needed to, playing that cheetah position. Now you know that he's going to be that guy, right? That's going to be your cheetah for the most part. I think it seems like, and the question was, is he good in coverage, which you got to be sometimes. And I think that he's, when it comes to tight ends, you're going to be able to do that. I think that, but you can still use Peyton Bowen in that position as well. And what you talk about? Hey, talked about special teams right there. That's the second punt block for Bowen this year.
Mm-hmm.
And he just seems to get better every week.
Yeah.
He saved that touchdown that run early in the game.
Yeah,
right?
Him and PJ. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What I was gonna say, we want Arch. That's funny. But yeah, man, I mean, like I said, Mitchell, they got a solid wide receiving core. I can't lie. We have to take away those explosive plays and make them actually work the field and make them think. And then those third and longs, we have to get off the field. And if you're going to blitz, you need to either A, get home, or B, make that pocket collapse. You need to collapse that pocket and make Quinn.
Don't get deeper than Quinn.
Yeah. And don't fall for some of the gimmicky stuff, because you know that they're going to try to run those little screens to what's his name, to Whittington, and then also not Whittington, but to Jonathan Brooks.
Brooks, yeah, and that dude's dangerous, bro. That dude is dangerous.
This is what I had to say, man. I'm not necessarily worried about their run game this year. I think C.J. Baxter has star potential. I think if Jonathan Brooks is let loose, he can get loose, but I got to see their offensive line. I got to see the offensive line against our four that we're bringing out there.
Even you're not as worried because Bijan and Roshan ain't back there?
Yeah.
You still got to worry. You still got to worry, bro.
Definitely. I'm not worried. I'm not necessarily worried.
Not as worried. I get it.
Worried. I'm not. Is JT Sanders going to be in this game or not? I thought he got hurt. Did he get hurt, JT Sanders?
I think he did. I'm not positive. Somebody say something about that in the chat. It seems like you did. Harrington, hope he gets the waiver. Yeah, man, that sucks that Harrington got hurt. It does. But hey, again, I think he will get the waiver. I think he will. There's no reason not to give it to him. Yeah, he did get hurt. Ankle. Yep. That was the one.
Yeah, he got hurt with. Is he? Has anybody heard anything else about that as far as like any updates or whatnot?
I hadn't yet, but I'm not too sure.
Well,
hey, everybody, make sure you wipe your feet. Hit that like button. I don't know how many we've gotten on there so far, but we need to make sure that we're taking care of that for us. 20 watching. How many likes we got here? Wipe your feet. Hit that like. 15 likes. Come on, fellas. Come on,
y'all. Come on, y'all.
Everybody gotta like it. Everybody gotta like it. We're talking good stuff. Lone Star, you better wipe your damn feet when you came in here too. Sucker.
Hold on. Last thing that we'll talk about, y'all. Let me go ahead and hold on. Let's see.
You think he's still in Topher? Yeah, I could probably. I mean, why put him back in if there was anything you want to kind of save him for that? But again, I don't. I think that you're going to see the defense is going to step up in the places that it's got. So you only have to make a few stops here, because you have an offense that can go out there and put up points too. This is one of those games that I think that the team that plays the most complimentary and the one that gets it on both sides of the ball, the best outing, is going to be the team that ends up winning it. It wouldn't surprise me if it's a close game.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't surprise me if OU went out there and beat them by a couple of touchdowns. I would be surprised if OU lost by much.
Yeah.
I just don't see that. But
Stephen G says Sark said he's hurt, but he will be playing during the Red River.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at that. I mean, there's no reason to put him back in if you get him even a little tweak on your ankle or whatever. You're not going to screw around with that.
Let's
AP
see.
Talk 25.
So this is going to be our last subject, folks. We're going to here for about an hour. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Man, I like where we're at. We're number 12. Washington State being up that high, that's crazy. But I like it, though. I like it.
Quarterback, brother. That hookup's going to be fun, ain't it?
Notre Dame and USC sliding is kind of wild. Not gonna lie.
Well, Notre Dame actually went up one from last week though after losing, but they had 4th and 16 under a minute left and got it, and then went down and scored. I mean, that was, that they had to dig deep to go get that win.
Yeah.
I want to see if they can keep it together now, but that was a big win. After what Duke has already done this season, they were undefeated. That was a big win.
I think
SC probably should have dropped a little further, don't you think?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, let's go ahead and start at 1. Georgia, man, when I turned on that game, I was like, wait a minute, what the hell is going on here?
Survival.
Hey, I'll say this right here. Bowers is a effing man, bro. That guy is, I mean, NFL scouts are champing at the bits. They can't wait to get that kid. That kid honestly should be a top 5 pick, but he'll probably slide just because of the position. I wouldn't be surprised, man. That kid.
The biggest weapons in the freaking NFL right now are Travis Kelce and guys like him.
He's that guy. That guy is incredible, man.
Incredible.
Michigan. I mean, Nebraska. Come on.
Look, everybody was talking about that Nebraska. They're not that damn good. They're still not. I mean, I think they're going to get better under Matt. They're not there yet.
Yeah. And then obviously you got Texas staying at 3. I'm fine with that. I know Orange Bloods guys and everybody else thought they should have been number 1, but I was like, okay.
Do you want that though? I mean, to me, I get it that it's been so long since anybody cared about them or thought that they were that damn good that they want to, they want to get all the love. This is what the week after the Alabama game, watching you guys on SEC Connect, when Steven was like, I don't understand why everybody keeps moving the goalposts. I'm like, bro, shut up, bro. You won one freaking game that you should have. Okay, good for you.
Come on.
You know what I mean? Come on, man. But that's where I think that's it. If it's us, I'm fine with 12. In fact, I'd be okay if they were still at 16 or something right now. Because until you actually go out and beat somebody that's been good already this season, then what? I mean, you just beat Iowa State. They beat Okie Light. Whoopty crap. Okie Light can't beat nothing. You know what I mean? They're trash. we hadn't been completely tested yet. I think that probably the biggest test was obviously Cincinnati, and they weren't great. You know, they once you took the passing game away from them, they were never really in danger of losing that game, even not playing the greatest on offense. So I feel like let them be ranked whatever they want, whatever. I don't care about them being 1 or 3 or whatever. You still got to deal with the team that's been kicking your ass 7 out of 10 years. So, good luck with that. No matter what you're ranked.
So I'm going to jump in here. I'm just going to say this right here. So Ohio State stays there. Not mad at that. Florida State stays there. I mean, it slides to 5. Not mad at that. Penn State, I think this is where you kind of could get a little bit testy because it took them forever to put Northwestern away. These 3 teams right here, if Washington. I have it correctly. So in 2 weeks, USC will be playing at Notre Dame. That could be a loss. USC's back half of their schedule is very reminiscent of what you would see Lincoln Riley play at OU. They have on October this week they have Arizona at home. Not worried about that game. Then they go on the road on the 14th of October to USC. Utah at home on the 21st. Then they go to Cal. Not worried about that game, but November. You know how he love to say championship November, right? He has Washington at home, and then he has Oregon on the road. So, I mean, these 3 teams right here, we're going to find out an awful lot about them at some point in these next few weeks, simply because they're going to have to play each other. Yep.
4 losses for Suck.
Down
the stretch, it's happening.
Yeah. So, I mean, these 4 teams, Notre Dame plays USC, but these 4 teams, that's something to keep your eye on.
You look at Notre Dame as they are physical. We were talking about how physical Oklahoma is. Notre Dame, that's what they're doing. They're playing physical football on both sides. Same with Oregon, and then Washington. Hey, who's gonna shut them down?
And I think
they're in trouble. They're in trouble.
Washington State is gonna have to play. Obviously, I think Washington and probably Oregon this year. I'm not sure what their schedule. I know they're not on.
Yeah, I know they've got the Apple Cup. What an Apple Cup that's going to be, right?
Yeah. So Oregon State is still there, but you kind of tend to think that at some point they're going to have to face one, or they're going to have to face Oregon. Can they do the impossible there? Utah is still there, but Pac-12 is something to keep an eye on. I would say I'm not mad about Louisville. Louisville should be in there. LSU still hanging on to their spot. That's kind of surprising. Tennessee, decent win last night. Mizzou is undefeated. Kentucky is undefeated. Those are good spots for them to be at. To kind of,
I like Kentucky. I don't buy Mizzou still.
I don't buy the Mizzou still either. And Kentucky is still kind of like, like I told my uncle today. I said, hey, outside of this Florida game, they've struggled an awful lot during the early part of the season too against really nobody. Sure. So, man, with that,
Oregon State a lot, bro. I like Oregon State a lot. Bama's probably where they should be. Wazoo's probably where they should be. Is Miami that good? We haven't really seen them play anybody in the meat of the schedule of the ACC yet. They beat Texas A&M, but where's A&M? They're not in the top 25. They dropped out. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, I think A&M is better off with the Johnson kid now. I'll be honest with you.
I do too. They looked better last week, right?
Yeah.
All right. What else you got, bro?
Last thing I would say is, man, reports coming from Stillwater is that they lost in the bye week, man. They lost that. So I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on down there in Gumbyville. I had a friend last night, OSU friend. He told me, he said, man, he's like, go ahead and add that coach from Texas State on the list as well. He's like, I want him
that
out.
dude's a stud, bro.
I think you put him with that OSU brand, give him some money out there. I think he'll go out there and get you what you need. Obviously, you've seen what he's done in the portal this year, to be quite frank.
Any of these guys, like him, Trailer, Fritz, any of these dudes that have gone out and, I mean, they're recruiting hard at these places and getting good players. You can do that shit at UTSA and Tulane. You're going to tell me you can't go with T-Boon's all that money in those facilities and even if you're not paying them $7.5 million like you're paying Gundy, they're going to go out there and out recruit this guy.
Tulane's coach. You say Tulane's coach, UTSA's coach.
Yep.
You can say Texas State, maybe go get the offensive coordinator. Maybe go get the offensive coordinator
for Incarnate Word last year, bro.
Huh?
He was 10-2 at Incarnate Word last year.
Who?
Kenny, the Texas State coach.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, you can go out there and possibly get that Zach. What's his name? The Texas Tech OC. A lot of people talking about him. Yeah. Some people are talking about why we go get Phil Longo out there at
Longo. Yeah, too.
Yeah. So I mean, I know we're obviously talking about Gundy's job, like he's not going to just have it next year, but still, I think they're
if they don't want to turn into team irrelevant even after Oklahoma's gone, then they better do something.
Yeah.
He made it clear before the season ever started that he's still not interested. He's doing Dabo stuff, not interested in being in the portal, not interested in NIL. He said that he didn't want to raise more NIL money for that program. He wanted more facilities. Kids don't give a shit about the facilities. They're good enough there.
Yeah.
They're already good enough.
But that's Gundy just being, me and PG talked about this a while ago, and I just told PG, I said, PG, PG wants him to go out there and recruit these 4- and 5-star kids just like everybody else. And like I told him, I said 2 things. First off, Gundy has notoriously been really good at turning. And I'll say this right here. You could call Gundy whatever you want. I know I put him on my certified bums list. The guy is a hell of a coach, and the guy is especially a hell of a
coach. He was mediocre. But what he used to do was take talent that was less seen. They were good at going out and identifying talent that was 3-star, right? And turning them into more development. They're not doing that anymore, Chris.
They're not. I say that, because I mean, it's just crazy to think of.
He's been on his freaking farm more than he's been at practice for the last 2 years.
I know, man. I know. I read all the tea leaves too. I'm just saying, man. The guy notoriously did that. And then 2, God rest his soul, but T-Boone Pickens is not alive anymore. T-Boone Pickens would have went crazy with this NIL. He would have went crazy. He would have probably had him out last year. He would have did that and then said, y'all other boosters, y'all go ahead and get this NIL stuff right. I'm gonna pay to get Gundy out. We over here. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to evolve, and he's not doing it. And the fact that he's doing that and then losing to your Alabama States, they could have very easily lost to Central Arkansas. No Scottie Pippen was on that team. Yeah. You know what I mean? They could have lost a bunch. They could have lost that game. They could have lost the game at Arizona State. They could have. The truth is, they got away with those first 2. They were nowhere close to winning the next 2, and they're really not. Who do you think they're better than in the Big 12 right now?
Somebody said Dabo Light.
Dabo Light.
Hank said Dabo Light. Hey, stop, Hank. Stop. That's crazy.
They've been calling that in Okie Lightland, man. They've been calling that in Okie Lightland.
Dabo Light. That's crazy.
Hey, that's the whole thing is, though, you got to play this game. If you are not going to do this, look, thank God that BV realized, hey, you know what? I would love to be able to do the Dabo thing. I haven't won any national championships on my own yet. So I'm going to play the game, because he didn't really dip in the portal the first year as much as he should have. We know that. This year he did. And look at what it's turned into. They're playing upwards of 30 freaking guys on the defense.
Yeah.
That's real competitive depth. We'll take a drink. Serious. And you got to. But Gundy still, after last season, losing 5 out of their last 6 games, getting freaking beat down by the worst Oklahoma team in 20 years.
Yeah.
And he still don't want to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go, bro. You got to go. Or let him stay forever. I don't give a shit. But it's just funny to me that, that there's even a discussion. He should have been fired already.
Stop, Hank Rico. Gonna hit that real quick. I'm just saying, man. That Dabo Light, that's hilarious. But nah, folks. Hey, look, that's the reaction, man. We got a hell of a week. There's a hell of a rollout from a lot of great Sooner podcasts.
You're gonna see a lot of stuff from us this week, boys.
Gonna roll it out, guys. Look, I think Thursday. I just want to let y'all know Thursday I may not be doing a show because I'll be on. I think I'm going on Fanatic Perspective show. So Steven and Nick want to do our 3rd annual OU Texas podcast, whatever you want to call it. Guys, I'm gonna need y'all in those comments because it's gonna get real. I have plans for these two. It's gonna get this. Like I told Jay the other day, I said, Jay, if you want to analyze the game and all the rest of that stuff, go on Ty's show. If we step on Steven's show, it's us. It's us against the world. We fight for our lives out of there. We in a corner.
Let's do it. Hey, and I'll tell you what, you got to be on Tuesday. I'm trying to get Nino to come on. He said he was in, but we'll figure out when we're doing it. We're gonna have former Sooner Stephen Coleman on Wednesday with the coach and I. We're trying to get some more guys to come in and do this, but we're gonna have a lot of fun with Red River Reek. So I want you to come on Tuesday for sure with us. We'll whenever we get Nino and them, it'll be a lot of fun. We'll do a lot of that stuff. But hey, expect to see a bunch of us this week. We're gonna have a lot of fun, and all these folks will be there. They're with us everywhere we are. So here's what it is. So I'm
gonna put out the link when we get everything situated. Yeah, I'll probably pop on Tuesday for sure. But hey, with that being said, y'all, I gotta find the thing. Oh, we about.
There's a lot of great OU podcasts,